Sherry Saldivar, and I'm the administrator here and have been here since 1985, 25 years.
So the focus of the interview actually is on customer service. So to start with, could you guesstimate what portion of your time or energy you have to spend on customer service issues versus like employee issues or technology issues?
Well, to begin with, from my perspective, most of the customer service issues are employee issues because I don't work directly with the customers that often, other than complaints. So if I was to get, our policy here is if we have a grievance or a complaint, that I want to know about it, because usually it has something to do with the work process or an employee that's got the wrong understanding of how things are supposed to be done, and so they usually become something to do with an employee issue, so I can't kind of those go together. But as far as time spent on coming up with ways that we can improve customer service, I would say probably just that. I would just guesstimate about 10%, and it's getting more.
What mechanism do you have in place to receive feedback from the customers on a regular basis, or is it mostly just voluntary negative feedback?
Well, we actually have a required mechanism in place because we are accredited by an outside agency. It's not, the outside agency isn't something we have to do. We chose to become accredited with this for quality reasons, AAAHC. And one of their requirements is that you have something in place that allows patients to file grievances, officially. The complaints are to be all directed to me. Usually the actual process is through an email, so that it's written. The staff member will receive it and then email it to me. I have an actual spreadsheet that I keep track of all the different grievances and what kind of department they're in. So is it a grievance about a doctor or patient care, or about billing, or about optical department, or whatever, so that I can kind of look for trends. Because you're always going to have, with all the personalities of the world, somebody's just going to be maybe unreasonably unhappy, and there's nothing you can do about that. But if you see, hey, in our optical department, I've got, 25% of my complaints are coming there, then that's where I focus. I'm making it more, find out what's wrong.
So you look at the trends, you don't necessarily pass on every individual complaint to the people that were involved? Actually,
I do, from a management standpoint, I look at the trends for things that I can do. But what I do, every grievance or complaint, my spreadsheet setup is name, and then what their story was, what the complaint was, and then what did I do about it, what was my actions, and what was my resolution. So I always have some kind of action or resolution, and a lot of times the action is to go to the individual and say, hey, this person perceived you as doing this or that, and then look for a resolution. A lot of times it's just an apology. Sometimes it's letting the person who's complaining know that we are going to have a meeting and discuss this, or sometimes it's giving them a gift card, whatever the resolution is. Well, there's actual, what we call benchmarks, you're familiar with that terminology, within the medical industry, and then specifically within our specialty, ophthalmology, that they say, okay, for a good practice, a growing, thriving, doing things right practice, or best practices they call it, a certain percentage of your total patients should be new versus established. If you have a higher percentage of new than you do, that's not necessarily a good thing, because that means you're not retaining or doing something wrong and they're not coming back. On the other hand, if everybody's just established and you're not new, that's not necessarily a good thing either, because you're not growing, especially in ophthalmology, where a lot of them are elderly and you have people bleeding to death. So we do have, it's more like, I'm kind of pulling this out of my head, but it's the new patient ratio is like about 20% new, with the rest of them established. Nowadays customers are way more sophisticated, their expectations are higher. Just giving them good eye care or being nice to them or giving them my glasses prescription or a surgery with a good outcome isn't enough anymore. People have higher expectations, and so to meet that, you're always having to come up with ways to train the staff or different things to offer, value-added services. Well, I did a couple months ago. We received an award from the local Lions Club because of the reality and perception that we do offer a great service in the community to people that cannot afford eye care. We've done surgeries at no cost, provided glasses at a reduced cost, and exams to people in need through the Lions Club, and so that was one of the community things that they're very appreciative in. Another thing that we noticed is, like, when we go out in our screenings and things that we do, a lot of the patients that are people that we come across are already patients of ours, and so we from this we can see that we have a large market share of people already come here, and it's a positive image here too.
Good.